In 2005, I was in Tanzania, and I saw the Mount Kilimanjaro in front of me, and I was sitting drinking a beer with a Dutch friend of mine, and he mentioned, Hugo, do you know about Jatropha, and that you can extract oil and make biodiesel from it? I said, I've never heard of it. And so he showed me, because he pressed the oil, how to make biodiesel, and that his car ran on biodiesel from Jatropha. And that was so exciting to see. That's when I started to look around, and I really wanted to know everything about this plant. Mali Biocarburant is a private company, and strategy is about local production, local processing, and local consumption of biodiesel. It's a company that is being created in 2007 by Dutch and as well Malian shareholders. Our strategy, local production, implies that we work with local farmers. The local farmers, they are shareholder in our company. Profit is shared with the farmers, 30% as shareholders in our company. We do not have land. Farmers own land. What we do is we support farmers to improve the yields and the revenues from their fields. So what we have done, one of our shareholders, which is the Royal Tropical Institute, since 20 years, they have integrated Jatropha in the farming systems of farmers, smallholder farmers in Mali. The big advantage of that is that Jatropha reduces soil erosion, it improves soil fertility, and it has a very significant impact on yields of food crops. They increase with almost 20% over 4 to 5 years' time. A second environmental benefit of Jatropha is that it improves water infiltration, so there's more water stored in the soil, which is important because that allows food crops to grow better when the rainy season stops. So that is a significant second environmental benefit. The third important environmental aspect is that Jatropha trees, they fix carbon. Everybody's talking about climate change, and everybody says they want to do something. But since 2007, we are working with farmers to plant trees, Jatropha trees. And these trees, they generate revenues. It's the first project in Africa that has realized carbon credit income for farmers. And this income is used either to build schools, either in the health sector, or other important agricultural investments that help farmers to improve their yields and to improve their well-being. Let me give you the example of Na Coulibaly, one of our farmers, which is in a town called Mafaya, about 10 minutes from our factory in Koulikoro. She's growing Jatropha since 2007 as a living fence around her fields. The advantage is that animals cannot enter into the field, but also all the crops that are grown within these fields are now hers. Normally, and that is about West African tree policy. If you have planted a tree, then the field where you plant a tree, that is yours. And so because now she has planted trees, this field has become hers. And so the crops that she grows are now crops that allow her to sell and have an additional income. So this is an example, and she started with only half an hectare in 2007, and now this year, 2010, I think she has almost 3 hectares of Jatropha planted, and you can really feel that her life is improving. We have set up Mali Biocarburant Foundation because we entered into a lot of development-related activities, and we decided that we should separate the development activities from our core business, which is producing biodiesel. So these days, we have a total of almost 100 extension staff, field staff, that are working in the field with farmers through a concept called farming field schools. And that is where we train farmers on how to improve farming. Either we have introduced drought-tolerant maize varieties. Instead of a farmer growing sorghum, which only gives a yield of 500 kg per hectare, together with different research partners, We have introduced drought-tolerant maize, which has a yield of 2,000 kgs per hectare. So if you think about food security, that has a significant impact. And so through our Mali Biocarburant Foundation, we are having all these farmer field schools that are really training farmers to improve the production. We have a company producing biodiesel, and local processing, because that's the second part of our strategy, implies that we have set up a logistics system where we extract oil from the jatropha nuts. Extracting oil gives you two products, one being jatropha press cake and the other being oil, jatropha oil. The jatropha press cake itself is a very good fertilizer, and it goes back to the farmer fields so that it has an impact on fertility of the soil and has an impact also on the yields. The other product, the oil, comes to our company. What do we do with it? Is we have a unit, and it's a bit of a difficult name, transesterification. It's a refining unit where we separate the biodiesel from the glycerin through a chemical process. Now again, this is interesting because there's two products coming out of that process. We have oil, we have methanol, and then there's two products, one being the biodiesel and the other being glycerin. The biodiesel is a wonderful product because I remember the first time I put it in my car and drove away with my own produced biodiesel. It really gave a good sense of power. That, it is power, but at the same time knowing that you can produce your own biodiesel and can run cars like our own factory. We're running on biodiesel. My car is running on biodiesel. And so that really is very important because it helps Mali to become a country which is just a tiny bit, little bit less dependent on fossil fuel. All our biodiesel that is currently produced is all consumed by local companies. And so it contributes both to economic development, it contributes in terms of employment. Our company, and especially our Mali Biocarburant Foundation, likes to work with Happy Xmas trees. Through the foundation, Happy Xmas trees, we can work together to plant more trees. Because the only problem we have these days is to have more trees, more jatropha nuts, which allows us to produce more biodiesel. And the second aspect of Happy Xmas trees, which we think is very important, is that it is a true a setup where we have a cultural exchange in a positive way. It's very important that we show also the power of Africa, the good things that are happening, the values of Africa. We want to contribute to an African continent having green energy and helping Africa and working with Africa to have a cheap own source of green energy.